What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Draymond Green Show YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like the post that you love. But you can get everything the Draymond Green Show right on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe. Check that out. Thank you. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Draymond Green Show. This next guest needs no introduction, but I'm going to go with the introduction anyway because this list of accolades is crazy. And so I'd be remiss if I don't run down them. So let me get through them real quick. Two-time WNBA champion, WNBA Finals MVP, two-time WNBA MVP, two-time WNBA Defensive Player of the Year, five-time WNBA All-Star, three-time All-WNBA First Team, two-time All-WNBA Second Team, two-time All-Defensive First Team, one-time Defensive Second Team, 2022 FIBA World Cup MVP, NCAA champion 2017, three-time consensus first team All-American, three-time SEC Player of the Year, and an Olympic gold medalist in 2020. None other. I myself call her MVP. You should also refer to her as MVP. Asia Wilson, welcome to the Draymond Green Show. Thank you for coming on.
Yes, thank you for having me. That was you. You could have stopped at pro. You went down. That's cool.
Well, I see. So there's a few people that have come on this show, and they don't necessarily have NBA championships, but they have college championships. And what they quickly find out is I am very upset and jealous and envious of them about their college championships because I did not win one. So. Yeah. You should feel that hate too, because I personally myself still wish I had a college championship, and I really would give one of my NBA championship rings for that. So
really,
I would. Like one shining moment, I can never hear that again. Like every time I hear that song, it takes me back to Coach Izzo's. Every year he'd have a speech and he's like, guys, you really want the one shining moment. Like it's nothing like hearing that song. Yeah. And so now every time I hear it, I can only think of not winning a championship.
Oh, that's traumatic. Yeah.
Very much so. But needless to say, for you, growing up, you grew up in South Carolina and then ended up going to University of South Carolina. Walk me through that decision. South Carolina was not the powerhouse that it is now when you decided to go there. What led you and kind of leading the torch and being the first one?
Looking for a super offer for Super Bowl 58? DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. New customers can bet the big game. Bet just $5. That's it, $5, and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Takes about 90 seconds. Use the code COLIN, C-O-L-I-N. New customers bet $5, get $150 instantly in bonus bets for the big game. DraftKings, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Remember, redeem code COLIN, C-O-L-I-N. The crown is yours.
Yeah, it was, South Carolina obviously was not what they were today. I think they made it to a Sweet 16 before, so it was kind of familiar, but it wasn't there yet. Like, it was taking it to another level. And it's crazy because I remember listening to Coach Staley's Hall of Fame speech, and she was speaking, and she had a point where she was like, to my players, just stay with me. Like, we're going to get it done. And I was just like, and at the time I was getting recruited, and I was just like, ooh, like that actually could happen. And I always say, like, Coach Staley could be anywhere and I would still go to play with her. She just so happened to be in South Carolina. But I mean, I just kind of looked at South Carolina as a place and Coach Staley as a person. I was like, that could tell me the good, the bad, the ugly, everything that goes on being a Black woman in the collegiate world. So I was like, what better person to coach me than someone that's been through it? And that was really my decision. I wanted to go to other schools for the boys. So my head wasn't really in the good place that it needed to be in. I was thinking like a 16-year-old instead of like longevity. So yeah, that's when South Carolina was just it. And then we just kind of took the world by a storm. And it was a crazy 4 years, but I enjoyed it.
Now that's incredible. And how did that relationship with Coach Staley start? So obviously she's at the University of South Carolina, but you said you just said yourself, if she wasn't there, wherever she was, I would have gone there. So just how did you end up getting so close with Coach Staley in the first place?
Coach Staley was like, on the AAU circuits. We didn't have the big like EYBL teams. We were just like kind of the team that was just making it. Like we had fish fries, car washes. We were just trying to get money. And we weren't the best team. Like we didn't have all the great talent. So it was very scarce when coaches would come around. But in the early parts of my recruitment, Coach Staley was just always in the gym, just watching me. It's like she knew that I had potential and was just waiting for me to figure it out. And like that loyalty there was something that I really could, like I could never shake, because I'm like, this woman has been with me from rock bottom. Like in gym, she was the only coach at a D1 level there. And so that just kind of grew. And I had an opportunity to be coached by her before I even got to South Carolina for the Junior Olympics. And like, she was just honest. Her honesty and her loyalty was really that stuck with me. And then it didn't shift when we got to college. Like, they're going to say anything when they're recruiting you. They got the best facility. But like when we got on campus, I was like, no, she didn't promise me I was going to start. She didn't promise me that I was going to be this big name. She was just like, come here, work, and we can get some stuff done. So that right there, I was like, all right, I'm down in. And so until this day, like she still is like the homie for sure.
That's incredible. I think in hearing that, I think Coach Staley took a book out of Coach K's playbook, and which is coaching the junior Olympic team. And in turn, she ends up coaching arguably the greatest woman to ever play college basketball. And I watched Coach K do that for years, where he was coaching the national team, but he had all of his guys coaching the younger teams. Capel's coaching the younger team, all these guys, and just pulling in recruits to Duke. So I thought that was an interesting one.
Yeah.
Growing up in South Carolina, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this, because I wonder, I'm very good friends, one of my vets, Jermaine O'Neal, who's obviously from the state of South Carolina. And, man, y'all had a Confederate flag up like 6 years ago still. And how was that for you as a young Black girl growing up in that state, being a prodigy and a superstar basketball player, but you ride up the street and it's a Confederate flag waving? How was that?
It was a very different feeling. It was something that I probably didn't really notice until I got older, where I was like, they don't like us. And it also was a feeling where I was like, you only kind of pay me attention because I'm wearing South Carolina on my chest, because I'm dribbling that basketball. But once I take that uniform off, who am I to you? And that right there was really hard figuring out growing up. But of course, my parents were like, be you and do that. But it was very different. And especially just growing up, I went to private school. So it was like maybe 10% Black, I want to say that. And then maybe like 3% of like Black women. So all I knew was white. All my friends was white and everything. Like my only thing that I got Black or culture wise was AAU. And even then they were like, oh, you just an Oreo. You just want to be a white girl. You want to do, and like, it was hard for me to like figure out who I was, because I'm like, I'm surrounded by white people when I go to school. So of course I'm going to talk a certain way or try to be a certain way, because that's all I see. But then when I'm around my AAU teammates and I'm like, that's me, I see myself, I can be myself, it seems like I don't know who I am. So it's very, very hard just growing up in that. And we all kind of have a story where it's like, it just didn't feel right. Like my gut didn't feel right. But as I got older and as I went to the University of South Carolina, I found me, and I was like, listen, you're going to have to like me, love me. I don't care. I'm going to be me through it all. And that's kind of what I've just been sticking by. But it's definitely been difficult to kind of, especially see the flag waving over our state house. It was just very weird.
It's crazy. So in saying that, February 6th, Dear Black Girls, How to Be True to You, should we expect to hear some of that journey about growing up in South Carolina in your upcoming book?
100%. I think it's probably within the first 2 chapters I kind of hit you in the face with it, because I'm like, this needs to be said. Like, things shouldn't get swept underneath the rug, especially in this society that we're in. Like, the Black woman already gets that. So why not bring it to light? And why not showcase and let people know that, yes, we all go through it, but this is how we can get through it. And I had tons of fun writing this book because I felt like it was very relatable. A lot of people, particularly the Black woman, we go through a lot of the same things. And I think people kind of see me as someone that goes through something different because I'm a professional athlete. But it's like at the end of the day, once I take that uniform off, I am still a Black woman trying to survive in this world. And I know it says Dear Black Girls, but it's really for everyone. It's a gym for everybody. And I had tons of fun writing it. It's so real to me. So hopefully people can understand that when they're reading.
No, that's amazing. I'm excited to check it out. Future New York Times bestseller on the list of all these other accolades we just shouted out. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm also starting the process of actually writing my own book. And so that's a challenge in itself.
Yeah.
So much respect to you on having that already done because it is not easy. Very time consuming amongst an already busy schedule. So I get it.
Yeah.
And congratulations and also good luck on the release. I think it'll be great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have you now statue outside of the arena, which all of us only hope to get. So number one, congratulations on that again. But with that, and now, being the legend that you are, do you feel like some of that has now changed in the state due to your success, Coach Staley's success, Alicia Gray's success, all the success that y'all have had coming out of South Carolina? Do you think that's changed some of that now? And when you return home and how you're greeted and the things that people say, obviously you're going to be greeted differently than the young Black girls that's there now, but do you think it's changed some?
Part of me wants to say yes. I do want to believe that, but at the same time, you never really know people's true intentions. And you always feel like that there's this underlying not microaggression, but it's kind of like micromanaging a little bit. Like, okay, like you just liking me a little bit because I'm doing this for you, or you're getting something out of me. But I think the way that Coach Staley has changed the culture of basketball, women's basketball in South Carolina, has been incredible to watch. I mean, we have gone from literally a place where you could talk to your friend in the next section across the arena. That's how how empty it was. To now it's like lower bowl is all season ticket holders. So I think the growth of that and letting them see us in getting a hold of us and seeing that we're tangible role models definitely has changed the approach that they have, probably to Black women particularly. And I think we got to give high praises to Coach Staley in that because she made it comfortable enough for people to and make it a safe space to where they can see us and see that we're bigger than just basketball players.
And Coach Staley has done a great job with the program. Obviously, you being the player to really spearhead and take that thing off. Is it ultimately a goal of yours to one day replace her when she's done there? You're done with your career to go back there and possibly be the coach of University of South Carolina?
No, Dre. I cannot coach. I would never see myself coaching because I could never coach a me. Like, I gave Coach Staley hell, like 100%. And I spent in Asia Wilson for 4 years. I would have a lot more gray hairs than what she has. So yeah, no, I'm not even going to put that stress on me. No, absolutely not. I barely like to talk in timeouts, let alone having to coach through one. So yeah, no, I'm good. She got it. She got it.
What can we expect from you when you're done playing? I think this is always, and obviously you're so young in your career, you got a long ways to go. But I always think this is an interesting topic on hearing what people kind of have in store for themselves after we're playing. So many people get caught up into like the now, but the reality is basketball is a very short window in our lives. And you got another 40 years, 50 years after that to live. What should we expect when it's all said and done? Of what we'll see from Asia once basketball is over?
Oh my goodness. I really want to get into the youth community. I really want to, like, when I see all these big like AAU circuits and different things that these young girls are going to help develop them to go to the next level, I want to dive into that area because I feel like that's the seed. That's the seed that we plant. Like, it's kind of late when you get into college. I mean, you can kind of do it, but if you're not in a good system and have a good coach, it's kind of hard. But it's like if we can get middle school girls to stay in sports, to grow with the game, to love the game, and see it from a person that's been at that level. Because I was trash when I started. Like, I was horrible, barely even got playing time. And I think if they see that from me and hear that from me and see works and having accessibility like to different things, that's kind of my heart and that's my goal. Is just to help the youth, particularly the young Black girls, stay in sports and know that they can be themselves and have fun while doing it.
Dear Black girls, I am committing to 100 books. I'm going to buy 100 books when this book releases on the 6th. And Asia and Clutch's team is going to figure out what Black girls this book should go to. I think it should go to all young girls, but I am making a commitment to make sure we get this book in the hands of some young Black girls. I know how hard it can be to get books, especially coming from places like we come from. So that is my commitment to the book. I'm doing that, and we're going to figure out a way to get this book in the hands of some young Black girls. And speaking of basketball, though, let's get into that. Obviously, I am a huge fan of your career, my MVP. Thought you got a little slighted last year, went and backed that up with a championship. For those of y'all that don't think I'm the MVP, then let's just talk about it. And getting into that, though, you don't win MVP last year, which I thought you probably should have won MVP last year. How did that feel, number one, and then spark you going into the playoffs to make the run and have this playoff stretch that you did?
Yeah, that hurt. That hurt me to the core, actually. I don't think I've ever felt that low in my career, honestly, because I really felt like, I guess my thing was, okay, if I didn't get it, but that fourth place, like being third and fourth,
it's
really
crazy.
Like that is what did it. Like not getting it, I was like, man, I gotta charge it to the game. You know, I get it, voters fatigue, whatever you want to say, cool. But being third and fourth was like, absolutely not. Like it struck my core. I was like, no, they are playing with me at this point. And I mean, it honestly did fuel me. And I think it fueled my team as well. Like we were just like, now wait a minute. Like we've been disrespected probably throughout this whole season. They already said super team. They called us a super team. And we're literally playing on one leg. But okay. And I think it just kind of fueled us in a way that was like, how are we the number one seed and still the underdogs? Like y'all really just don't believe in us ever. And that's okay. Cause now we have to continue to prove to y'all why we're the number one team. And like, I was excited. Like I was so ready to get back on court because I was like, all right, it's time to play now. Like that's out the way. Y'all voted. Now let's play the game. Let me prove to y'all why I felt like I deserved something better than third and fourth. So yeah, that kind of shook me a little bit.
And speaking of super teams, obviously I've been a part of one, which, I mean, I still question whether I was a part of a super team, B, that our team was so homegrown. Like, yes, KD did come on a team, but it was a homegrown team. And I feel like y'all were the same way. Like, yeah, Kelsey may not have been drafted there, or Chelsea may not have been drafted there, but y'all weren't great when y'all got those players.
Right.
And getting those players, y'all then built that to be great. You had Bill Laimbeer as a coach, then moves on and y'all then go on to hire, who in my opinion, no questions asked, is the best coach in the WNBA by far, Becky Hammon.
100%.
But this wasn't like, oh, we plucked this player and now we go to championships. Is that your feeling? Because I know that's how I feel about ours. Is that your feeling on y'all?
Yes, 100%. Like, Kelsey, obviously number one draft pick. She played in San Antonio, but then the next year Vegas. Then it was me. Then it was Jackie. And like we were Like I remember my rookie year, we didn't make it to playoffs. Like we were trying to grind out wins and form a fan base to be like, come watch us. And like it's funny because we were just talking about. We're like, there were times when we would have a meeting and be like, what are we doing? Like, where do we want to go with this? How do we win? Like we were questioning how to win. And it just took us all being like, all right, we're going to get in the gym and we're going to work our hardest. Like no one's going to outwork us. And so that's why I kind of felt some type of way when they kept calling us a super team. Because I'm like, we didn't just go pick everybody and was like, make it work. Like this was something that we were building. And obviously we just got great additions that wanted to. And it's funny how it all, at the end, it really came down to me, Kelsey, and Jackie. Like, it's like, and that was supposed to prove to everybody, like, this was it. The whole time, this was it. And that's the part that I was so happy for. And that was like probably why the second championship was just that much greater than the first one. Cause I'm like, a lot of y'all, one, wanted us to lose, but two, could not believe that we really did it with our core that we've been having since day one.
Mm-hmm.
And like that right there, I definitely feel the same way. Cause I'm like, we literally have been doing the same thing we've been doing every year. Like same thing. And we just so happen to be really good because we just put the work in.
Absolutely.
But yeah, if that's a super team, then okay. But no, they're acting like we just were like going to different gyms and be like, yeah, we want her, we want her, we want her. Okay, play. No.
No, I definitely thought it was a lot sweeter. As you may or may not know, I'm a huge Candace Parker fan. Has been since watching her in the dunk contest in high school, and then to Tennessee on through WNBA with the Sparks, then the Sky, and now her being with the Aces. But I thought it was a lot to say for number one, CP getting hurt early in the year and missing a lot of the year. But then at the very end, C. Gray getting hurt. And like you said, it boiling down to just y'all having to close it out with kind of what you started with.
Yep.
And it shut all the naysayers up. You know how I viewed that? I viewed that, and now, CP is my teammate, Chris Paul. But years ago, I think it was 2018, if I'm not mistaken, KD got hurt. I mean, we were playing the Houston Rockets and CP gets hurt. And when CP got hurt, they like, if CP didn't get hurt, y'all was done. And then KD got hurt. And we're like, all right, now we're faced with the same thing. We're at a deficit. KD's out. And now it's just us three. And we came back and won. And so to me, that was one of the sweetest series to win because everything y'all said about us, you cried to KD in the car, you couldn't do this, y'all couldn't do that, y'all had to, and it boiled back down to us having to get it done, and it made it all the more sweeter for me.
Yes.
So I definitely get that. But for you, having a player like Candace Parker around who's done it at the level that she's done it at for so many years, what benefit was that to you and just being able to then team up with her and kind of pluck at some of that knowledge that she has?
Oh, it was incredible. Like I've never was so excited just to have a person like Candace in our locker room, just to pick her brain. I mean, it's just amazing just to compete against her in practice when we could, and then just to have her constantly just being in my ear. And I remember like before we went into the New York series, we sat down and I was just like, how do we do this? Like, how do I do this as a person that the light is beaming on? How do I do this? And she was like, be you. Like, and it's so simple. And it's like, I knew exactly what she meant. I was like, I can't do anything different. Can't force anything. I just have to go out there and be me, and my team will follow. But just having her encouraging words on the sidelines, just still just practicing with her. And I hate, like when she got hurt, we were just right in the groove too. We were like, dang. But it was just tons of fun just to play along somebody she's my GOAT, Hall of Famer, hands down. So just to share a locker room with her and just her mind, man, it was a lot of fun just to have her around. And I'm super excited just to see kind of what her future holds. Candace is a hooper. She's a hooper and a trooper through and through. And I'm so glad that I can be able to just be a part of her journey because we had a lot of fun. We brought out the youth a little bit out of her. It was a lot of fun.
That's super dope. We had Candace on the show, and she actually spoke about coming to the Aces and that being the first time that she'd have her own locker, which practice facility. Said she never had a practice facility, and then she got her own locker. What has your experience been like as far as that? Obviously, being on the team that had a practice facility and all of those things, but what has your experience been like in WNBA as far as locker rooms and practice courts and travel and all of these different things? What has your experience been?
Well, I was kind of blessed because when I entered in the league, we were shifting everything. So Vegas was new. So we had new management, new French. It was like new everything. So we were able to kind of write our own story. So I really didn't go through the slums of the W, minus the travel. I think that was my biggest hit because, I mean, in college, I traveled privately. Like we got on a plane, left, go to class next day. It was regular. But I think like flying commercial was the really hit. Like, oh no, we in the slums, low key. Like I'm sitting next to a man. I don't know what he carrying. He could be having anything. And I have a like next day. And he's like just coming from 5 kids. And it's like, oh, you're like, you got germs. So that was my thing. Like, I was like, oh God. was my kind of like, ooh, this is the W. Okay. But no, when it came to locker rooms, I was kind of blessed enough to have a locker room. We've always were provided a court and everything. We actually helped transform like UNLV's whole training room so it can be to us with cold tubs and everything like that. So I wasn't really in the slums. And I hate to see that others like that were in the slums, but I'm also grateful to be on the side where we have an awesome practice facility that we are literally being treated the way we should. But yeah, the travel was just kind of like my little hit. But other than that, that was pretty good. I was blessed.
That's great to hear. And then speaking of, the travel and your experiences, you all just had the highest rated finals, the most watched finals in 20 years in the WNBA. What would you attribute the growth of the W to, and getting those type of ratings and on practice facilities and all these things moving forward? What would you attribute that growth to?
I mean, I honestly think it kind of picked up in the collegiate side of it. I think a lot of people started paying eyes on that when everything went down between Angel and Caitlin. And I think it kind of then allowed people to kind of open up this mindset of, oh, let's kind of watch it at this level. And I think they're also starting to see us more. And I always say, if you can see her, you can be her. But I think obviously representation matters, but being seen is it. Like they see us a lot more, whether that's in commercials, whether that is just on social, like they can see us and relate to us, which means like they want to tune in and watch us. And then I always say, like, once you tune in and watch us and give it a chance, you might actually like it because we play decent basketball. Like the Aces, we're going to play some good basketball. I can be biased there and say, no, we're going to put on a show for you for sure. And I think people are now starting to give it a chance and know that it's not just a charity case, but we're really good at what we do. And whether that is, and I think part of it also is we formed a rivalry. I think when you look in sports, everyone loves a rivalry. Everyone loves like the fact that I don't like them. They don't like us. So let's compete. Check the ball up. Let's play. And I think that was the positive side of the super teams, is because it's like people were like, okay, bet, let's tune in to see who's the real team. So I think that really, really helped us, was like, no, Aces and Liberty. As soon as we made the teams, people were like, that's the finals matchup. So 100%. When it came down to that, they were like, no, I have to watch it. So I think it just we're starting to open up into spaces of like the rivalry and like pitting people against each other, because people love that. Like that's what sells, is like, I hate them, they hate us, let's go. So I think that really kind of helped us getting those views and people buying our jerseys and pouring into our teams, is because it's like, we want to be the best. And also us being defending champions, of course you want to see what's going on with us. So I think that was kind of the big cause of it.
Absolutely. No, I think that's incredible. And by the way, you just said something that I said years ago, and all y'all got mad at me, and I'm happy to hear you say that, because maybe I wasn't as far off my rocker as everyone tried to make like I was, which is people knowing your stories and like knowing who you are, like people actually getting to know the story of Asia Wilson, getting to know the story of Chelsea Gray, getting to know the story of Kelsey Plum. I think that's what grows the game. I remember years ago, I was in Miami when I did the interview. I'll never forget it. It was about Women's Empowerment Month. And I'm just like, no, like these girls are, like these women, they're not supported the way everybody act like they support them. And I don't think they're asking the right thing to then move this thing forward. And I caught so much flack for it. Nonetheless, I am happy to hear you say that the viewership and people getting to know our stories and know this person and know that person is what's changing things, because that was just a little suggestion. So it's great to hear that. It's great to hear that. But in speaking of, well, before we move on to that, a lot of players in the W have to go overseas during the W's off season, because you all make way more money overseas than you make in the W. All is not, like myself included, all of us are not fortunate enough to have the big endorsement deals like Asia Wilson, but y'all are it's just a totally different ball game when y'all go overseas and the money that you make. When do you think the W will reach a point to where players no longer, and I think we're starting to see more of it now. We're starting to see not as many women in the W going overseas and finding different avenues to make a living. But when do you think the W will reach a point to where the W is enough, and that's the job? And it's a two-part question also. Do you think the W season will ultimately need to be longer in order to actually reach that point?
Ooh, okay. So to answer your first question, I have no idea what the W can do to help players not go overseas, because it would just have to be a lot within the league that would have to change salary wise. And with our salary cap, that's really, really hard to do. So I don't know exactly how, like, economically wise, like how that could work, but hopefully soon. But we are seeing a change. Like, we're seeing a lot more W players staying because of anything. Like, we have new league with AU. Like, it's a lot of different things that women can still stay here and play. But I also very lucky and blessed to be, Clutch client, and they keep me working, and that's what I love the most, because the girl got to get paid. But no, I think those are also, it's like, who's in your circle? Who's working for you? Like, what are they doing to put yourself out there? And they do a great job of doing that. And I think on the other side of it, yes, I would love a longer season because I love the game, but also I feel like it puts us in a way where it's starting to flow. Like, you're starting to mesh together, because then it's kind of like, okay, soon as our season ending, we're starting to go into, and you guys' season start. So like, lights are shining on different sides of the league, but like, that's kind of like what it's all about, right? Like, all eyes on a lot of different things. And I think with that, yes, but also obviously you got to fight TV time and viewership and different things like that. But for a longer season, I'm all for it. I know we're trying to add teams, which is going to be super hard, but they're trying. So that's a kind of step. But yeah, I think we would definitely need a longer season to really have people give a chance of like watching us, because then it's kind of like not riding on the NBA's coattail, but in a sense, it's kind of like, no, basketball's still going on. Like, basketball doesn't end when you guys' season ends. It's like, yes, you have the whole summer to watch us. So just kind of implementing that and letting people kind of have eyes on us is big.
There's been a question that many people has asked or brought up. And it's always been met with resistance from you all. And I personally myself can understand the resistance. But, people will always say, well, why don't they lower the rims to 9.5 feet? That would make the game more exciting. And quite honestly, I think that's a totally different way of playing. Like, a half a foot is a huge difference. Like,
It's a difference.
A huge difference. Like, it changes your whole shot. Like, you've practiced shooting the ball a certain way your whole life. Like, it changes everything. But yet the first thing people will throw out there, yeah, but there'll be more dunks, and that's more exciting. And so, like, how do you kind of combat that thing? Like, so I do understand where y'all are coming from. Yet I'm a big fan of the W. I watch the games, and I also think I watch the games more so like the fundamentals that y'all, like, you can't find that shit in the NBA. Like, the guys in the NBA just don't have fundamentals. And like, you watch y'all play, and the fundamentals, I love it. But for those that can only watch the game for excitement, because most people don't understand the game, like, how do you kind of combat that?
I think just my biggest thing is, I always try to tell people, is like, you just honestly have to give it a chance and give it an open mind. I think that's kind of the only thing, because like, when you said lowering the rims, I'm like, I'm not changing 20 years of me learning basketball just so I can dunk maybe twice in a game, if we're being realistic. Like, it's like, I can't give that. Like, we're not the Harlem Globetrotters. We're not the guys that jumped on the trampolines. Like, I've worked too hard and put a lot of like time into my game for me to change it just because I want to sell a ticket, if we're already selling out tickets right now. So I feel like the biggest thing, and when I ask people, like, when people ask me, I'm like, you really have to just go to a game. I get watching it on TV, and that's great, but going to a game, particularly an Aces game, gives you a whole different outlook on just the game itself, because then it turns into entertainment. Because then you're like, you get to feel the feeling of the game. And then you get to enjoy it, because they're like, okay, no, they're actually doing stuff really, really well. Like, they're looking pretty decent. So yeah, I can't do the lowering of the rims. It gives me a headache when people ask me that, because I'm like, no, like, why? It changed my whole depth perception. Like, no, absolutely not. But I think just the game itself, obviously, we're hoopers here. So I'm like, the game is exciting, I promise. Like, just give it a chance. But I think, honestly, that's what you have to do, is just give it a chance. And I would also say, fall in love with a player. Like, we tell our stories, that we're deeper than basketball players. Like, find a player, ask somebody who's really dope in the WNBA and kind of dig into them, see what they got, see what they like, and then form that relationship with them. So then it kind of translates over to the court.
For a period of time, I think the NBA and its specific NBA player support was like on blast, on Front Street for the W. I personally don't think I see as much of that anymore, like as far as being out in front of it. You may feel differently. But my question is, do you all still feel the same support from the NBA players and league as much as you once did?
And every time I think about this, I think about the orange hoodie. I'm like, oh, thank you guys so much for wearing the orange hoodie. But it's kind of like, okay, like you get it, like it's kind of like, cool, thanks. Like I'm glad you wore it, but what are we doing? Like and my biggest thing, and I can actually appreciate it, is kind of like, and it is, I kind of feel like it's not dwindling, but it's new people in the league. They probably haven't got a chance to watch. Like a lot of you guys watch us because y'all watched us at different levels, like college levels. You just kind of follow it along. And I think this wave, the generation may not have that because it's just, whether it's NIL, whether it's just like social media, you see them in a different light. They haven't learned that yet. But I also applaud it because I'm like, keep that fake shit over there. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like, I don't need you to fake like you watch us. I don't need you to fake that you like us. I'd rather you keep it real and keep it pushing over there and just let us do our thing. So I can appreciate just the honesty, because a lot of people, I mean, we see it on social. If you guys see, they're going to be like, oh, they paid you guys to say it, and oh, y'all don't know anything. And it's like, I would much rather you be genuinely speaking about us and pushing us the way that you want to, versus it feeling scripted and not genuine. So it may be, I don't necessarily know, it's like, I don't know how to say it. Like, I don't think it's a decrease in the support, but I think it's just an honest viewing of the support. It's kind of like, yeah, they're good. And I've probably been to a couple of games, but I'm like, cool. But I feel like at the same time, we do have a lot of players that are invested in us, that are helping to push the needle and having the seat at the table. And you guys are speaking out about it. And those are the ones that obviously we appreciate and kind of gravitate to the most, because it's real. But I kind of dig the whole, like, hey, I ain't really watched them, so I ain't really gonna wear that orange hoodie. Now I can appreciate that.
No, I think it's definitely number one, personal relationships, which you see a lot, especially like guys who's been on the national team, USA men's national team and women's national team. Like, you see a lot of that connection. We spend a bunch of time together. We travel together. We're at y'all games when y'all are playing. Y'all are at our games when we're playing. And so I think you see some of that natural connection as well. And the reality is, most people that are at that level, and when I say people, I mean players, women and men, you understand the game. A lot of these young people don't understand the game of basketball. Right. And so, and speaking about like Allure in the rim of dunks, a lot of these young guys, in particular, are actually all into those things because they don't know the game. And so I can kind of see a correlation there as well, you know? Yeah, for sure. Which I think is interesting. A few more questions before we get out of here. I know you have to go. And just really speaking of the women's game, the GOATs, the rivalries, you yourself, and getting into number one, you yourself kind of have this rivalry with Breanna Stewart of, you know, championship, MVPs, the whole nine. She's won in college, you've won in college. Like, the list goes on, and there's kind of a little rivalry. How do you view that rivalry amongst the two of y'all?
Yeah, I love it. Stewie and I have been playing against each other for a long, long time. And it's crazy to think that we kind of grew up with this little rivalry. But at the same time, just we're still cool. I feel like that's what makes it that much better, because we know it's like, it's not beef. Like, media can make it beef, anybody can make it beef, but it's not beef. And it's like, when you see us, we're making each other better every possession, every single possession. I'm pretty sure if you ask Stewie, what's Asia's scout, she could read it like that. And if you ask, I'm like, yeah, I got you. And I think that's kind of what our game and our league needs. It kind of puts people aside. It's kind of like, pick a side and go for it and like enjoy it and watch these two grow. And to see, and it's crazy just to see how the league is kind of in our hands at this point. Because I'm like, little Stewie in Asia and UConn and South Carolina, never would have imagined we'll be in this space now. But it's been tons of fun just growing alongside Stewie. and just getting better. I feel like she makes me better every single time we play against each other. But at the same time, we've been cool since we played together for USA and everywhere in between. But it's a lot of fun. Sometimes I feel like every game we just kind of look at each other and just smile aloud because we're like, look at us. What we did. like, dang, but Stewie, I know they talk a lot about like college girls now and like NIL, but one place I'm going to always give Stewie is her respect is in college. That girl has 4 national championships and you can never take those away from her. And I get they talking about Angel, I get they talking about Caitlin, I get they talking about South Carolina's team, but the things she did in college does not need to go unrecognized. So yes, Stewie, I'm gonna give your props there because I see they be playing around with this whole who's the best collegiate. Nah, Stewie got that 100%. But it's kind of cool just to watch us just grow together from those moments. So yeah, I love the rivalry. I feel like we circle that game every time because we have no choice because we're like, oh, we get to see each other again. So yeah.
That's fire. You just mentioned Caitlin and you just mentioned Angel Reese, both two incredibly good players at the collegiate level. Obviously, this year soon will be making that jump to the NBA, WNBA, more than likely. But when I watch some of these younger guys, when I'm watching college or you watching some of the overseas guys come over, when I'm watching them like, that's cool, like that kid's good. I'm also watching them like, all right, let me figure out his tendencies now. So when he come in this league, the first time I play him, I can destroy him because I'm only going to get older and I need to instill some type of doubt and fear in you while you're young so that when you see me as I age, you know, I have to be a little unsure of myself. When y'all are watching like Caitlin Clark, and specific at your position at Angel Reese, who, what I like most about Angel is she going to talk to you about what she's going to do to you, and then she's actually going to do it, and she's going to make sure you hear all of it. Are you watching her sometimes like, all right, like I see you, shorty, but just know you got to come here soon, or are you just watching it like, I'm just enjoying the game?
I mean, sometimes I really just watch it to enjoy it, but then sometimes obviously the player side of me is kind of like I watch because I'm watching as if I'm watching film because clearly they're going to be at the next level. So I do kind of sometimes catch myself. I'm like, oh, okay, bet, I got you. And I'm like, oh no, let me enjoy the game. Go women's sports. Like the competitor in me just can't live without a film session sometimes. So I don't watch it to enjoy it, but sometimes I find myself like, all right, bet. She liked that move, bet. I got it. Because like you said, I'm getting older. So I'm like, all right, I got to start playing smarter a little bit and let me try to figure it out before they kind of get ahead of the game. And I'm pretty sure they like did it to me when I was a rookie, so I don't feel too bad. I'm like, yeah, no, you did the same.
Absolutely. That's a fact. It's crazy. I was thinking about that yesterday because I'm like, man, I wonder if guys thought this way about me. And I'm like, they 100% thought this way about us, man. Like, this ain't nothing new. Like, they've been doing this. Okay. All right, long as I'm not the only one sick in the head, I'm good. Give me your Mount Rushmore of WNBA or women's basketball in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be the WNBA because obviously the WNBA spans back now 26 years, if I'm not mistaken. But give me your Mount Rushmore of women's basketball.
Cool. Cynthia Cooper, yeah.
Cynthia Cooper.
Sure swoops. Gotta have it.
Absolutely.
I really want to put myself because why not?
You can't not put yourself. That is A-OK on the Draymond Green Show.
I'm going to put myself because, duh. And Mount Rushmore got 4 people. I don't know.
Yes, it does. 4 people.
I got to say Candace. I have to say Candace, but now I feel so bad. I'm sorry. Everybody I can take my head can be on the side. They can like carve it on another side. And I'm just going because part of me wants to say DT, but then part of me obviously want to be like Coach Staley because that's my girl. I don't know. We just had to carve in a couple extra heads on the mouth. I can't get before. So go ahead and put like 2 together. There it is.
Okay, well, since you're removing yourself to the side, what do you have to do in your career moving forward? Like you've already done everything. What do you have to do in your career to put yourself all the way on there? Like, ain't no moving me to the side. I'm here. What more do you feel you need to do in order for that to happen?
I gotta get 2 more chips. I gotta get two.
more.
I gotta get
Why
2
two?
more. Yeah, I feel like it just solidifies me at that point. Because I feel like, and especially if I can do them in a row, oh my God, blessings. That's knocking it out the park. But I feel like I'm already up there because being back to back is hard in itself.
Yes, it is.
That's why when people be like, oh, like you won your second one, I'm like, please say back to back. Because back to back is what really sets it off. So that's why I feel like if I can get a couple more, like then it's kind of like, all right, she did it back to back, but then she also did it again and again. So yeah, I'm just gonna give myself 4 and also I'm an even number girl. I'm weird. So yeah, I need 4 and a couple. Give me another gold medal. Yeah, I think then I'll be at peace.
Okay, I can respect that. All right, I'll be sitting here counting championships. I know you'll get more, so I'll be sitting here counting them so I can make my own Mount Rushmore, and I don't have to slide you to the side. That was your words, not mine. Before we get out of here, your best or favorite best, however you want to classify it, Aces Championship Parade stories or celebration. Like, what out of all of that do you look back on and you like, that was the moment for me?
Like this year championship or last year or anything?
Either. You know, that's a great problem to have, MVP. You ain't got to flex on me. It's all right. Great problem to have.
I probably just I have 2 because my teammates are they're just my teammates. It has to be, and it wasn't even the parade. It's like immediately after where we're in the media and we're doing media, and it's me and it's Chelsea. We're doing it, and all of a sudden we just hear this boom box, and it's KP hammered with the boom box interrupting the whole press conference. And we're like, what is going on at this point? And KP apparently was left in the locker room by herself. Once she came out, everybody was going their different ways. We still don't know where people were until this day. And she just gravitated to the press room and decided to crash it. That was the top moment of my life because I was like, what is going on? Then the second one was another what's going on moment when we were in the press room again after winning in New York. And the whole team just bust through and ruined me and Alicia Clark media. And they're just like asking their own questions, like, who the 4th place? Oh, what's going on? Like, we're at this point, we're like, yeah, the media people are like, and this is why we didn't vote for y'all. So we gave them their reason. And I think that right there were like my top moments where I'm like, this team is awesome. Like, I love them for this. So yes.
That's great. No, it honestly looks like y'all have so much fun together. Like even like on a daily basis. And I don't think people really understand the monotony of these seasons, right? Like you're just in this grind and it's on and on and on. It's just like this revolving door. And I admire how fun it looks like y'all keep it for each other. I think that's great. I think in order to continue winning, you have to be able to do that because you run into the dog days. You run into the days you wake up, you don't want to play. And so I really admire that about y'all. Like,
yeah.
Do a great job of keeping it fun. And quite frankly, they cannot vote again if that's going to equal another championship. And hey,
Facts.
You know what? Just keep on fueling the fire. No,
yes.
Asia, I can't thank you enough for coming on the Draymond Green Show, your resume. So I always talk about, like, you can't just be in the NBA or the WNBA and come on here. You got to have a resume, like, because we got to have something to talk about. And I don't really want to talk about what draft pick you were. Like, that ain't don't really get it done. But honestly, I'm so thankful to have you on. Champion, MVP, you know I'm a big fan. Dear Black Girls, How to Be True to You by Asia Wilson. Y'all make sure February 6th, y'all get that book, go check it out. I've told you all my commitment. I'm looking forward to reading it and checking out the book. Good luck this year. Make sure you run it back. Make sure you go get the MVP. Don't leave no doubt this time.
Yeah, at this point,
Leave
gotta
no
do
doubt. Absolutely. Wishing you well. Thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.